My name is Gary Jordan, and today I want to introduce you to the concept of natural law and how it fits in the North American cultural background that we've all grown up here in the United States, Canada, and Mexico. Um, and one of the things I wanted to introduce people to is the fact that it's simple. The basics are so simple, a small child or a mentally disabled person could easily handle this. You don't have to be a rocket scientist to work with natural law. You don't have to be um, a bookworm. I am, but that's just my cross to bear, as it were. um, but what I wanted to discuss is some of the interesting things that go with it. As some people may already know, natural law is less than 10 laws. We have the Sidney K. Courier has set up from the Galactic Codex this maxim of love, which is counter to our complex Roman English common law tradition of the maxims of equity. And those four are: every living system has a right to be free, so long as they're not interfering with the rights of others to be free. And that's a boundary. And that one of the things that I'll get into in other videos is these boundaries, these simple major boundaries. At any point, the maxim freedom, I mean, every person, whether you're a child or an adult, whether you're a massive genius or whether you're a little intellectual dunce, it makes no difference. You have the right to be free so long as what you do does not affect the rights of others to be free. So that's the first one. The second one is the uh, the maxim or the law of protection. Every living system has the right to be protected. And what that simply means is that self-defense or defending another person is a natural thing. It's inherent in who we are. I automatically want to protect someone that's being bullied, or I want to be protected if I'm being bullied and unable to protect myself. That's just simply natural. I saw an example of that when I was volunteering in a special ed class with severely retarded and autistics. There was this one big fellow named Richard, a big of the house, Hispanic fellow, big of the house. I mean, uh, but he couldn't talk. He just babbled. But if he thought someone even looked at me wrong, that Richard would just go bonkers, and he wanted to protect. And so that's a natural instinct. You don't have to teach that. The next of the three of the four is the maxim or the law of balance. That means that if a person is violating natural law, violating the rights of others, causing harm, they're given the opportunity to make restitution, to heal the harm that they've caused in some way. If they're unable to because they don't have the means, or they're unwilling to, then the community has the right to impose some sort of restitution on them. So, in the most extreme cases, that could include banishment or containment, but that's an extreme scenario. It's not the ideal setup. Now, the fourth one is the law or maxim of intervention. It's kind of a specialized version of the maxim of defense, and that applies to communities, groups of people, families, bands, clans, villages, tribes, confederations of all these. Um, and all that is saying that the community has the right to defend itself and defend its members from harm that's being caused to it. So those are the four of those. I have, in my own personal understanding of natural law, have borrowed some of the cultural normatives that are sort of a border between natural law and what we call cultural law, which is the application of natural law by a culture, the normatives, the customs, the traditions that are common to a group of people. And these three are do no harm to others, which includes murder, which include don't murder people, don't go out and injure people. That that's basically natural. We don't think twice about that, except when a state imposes this idea of war. The second one of these is don't go taking what doesn't belong to you. It's not really a cool thing to go out and take stuff that doesn't belong. And on that one, there's an interesting where the cultural law interacts is the boundary is what is possession? What belongs to a person? What can belong to a person? So that's sort of something we deal with there. The third one of the cultural normatives is that are sort of the midway between totally natural law and cultural law is don't create falsehoods. And this is the trickiest of these three. That would include lying, but that's a tricky one because a white lie and other things we do to not cause harm to others. It's a very, very tricky area. But essentially, don't go out of your way and don't go in creating falsehoods. Don't make false statements. Don't hide the truth from people if it's going to affect their judgment of what is harmful to them. It's a very important but very tricky area. The last one of the eight that I personally have is what is called the law of harvest in many African cultures. Um, in the Christian traditions, we've called it what you reap is what you sow. The Buddhists and Hindus call it karma. It's very worldwide, but it says for every cause there is an equal and opposite effect. You know, there's a consequence to our choices. And that's natural law. That's natural in that it is bound up with the normal day-to-day interaction. For every action, there's a reaction. Simple as that. I mean, you see that all over the place. And that's the consequence of being a physical living being. So that's natural. That's not a cultural normative. We have cultural names for it. We have cultural ways of interpreting how they work and exploration of it. So those are the eight. These natural law and quasi-natural laws are something we can explore. Every little boy and girl, man and woman can explore it and see where the boundaries are. The modern science of culture, permaculture, one of the 12 primary rules there, principles I should say there, is appreciate and work with the borders, with the boundaries. And to be frankly honest, the boundaries are the most interesting thing. And by working with these boundaries, we can explore and discover different ways of interaction, different ways of doing things. And so for me, that is part of what makes natural law so much more interesting than our complex maritime corporate law, is you can't really explore these because they're kept away in an ivory tower, far, far away from the average person. And you have to go to a specialist. But you can't explore that really. But natural law, the law of the creator, the God, Allah, or whatever name you want to give the creator, Wankantanka, the source, is explorable by anyone. The physical laws, the laws of biology, the laws of animals and the social structures that they have, the laws of human social structures, what works and what doesn't work. These are all explorable. They're all things that we can do. It doesn't matter how bright you are. It doesn't matter if what your IQ is tested, whether you can see well, whether you can hear well, whether what your range is. And so this is what I think what makes natural law the most interesting thing for us as we go through this transition is the exploration of the human interactions and what works for the average person. So with that, I'll leave you with a lot to think about. And I'll have other videos and writings that I'm working on a primer to kind of introduces this. And it'll give us a chance to explore, and I'd like to see the comment section. I'd like to see comments and other people take on this exploration. So with this introduction, I hope you have a great and wonderful day, and share the joy and explore the natural laws as they apply to human social and interpersonal activities. With that, have yourself a great day.